So. There we go. James Gunn had some updates. Batman, Superman 2, Wonder Woman. What are those updates from the co-chair of the DCU? How to Train Your Dragon, the reviews are in. And why am I doing this show by myself? And why did you guys think it was at 5:30? I don't know. It wasn't. It was supposed to be 3:30. But nonetheless, here it is. This is the show. I'm ready. You're ready. Let's do it. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. The time did say 2:30 PST. I don't know why. Luke has a lot of things he's working with. He's got a lot of things he's doing. And to be fair, I threw everybody off today. It's the reason Roxy's not on the show. I was ready to go today, normal time, and then a bunch of things happened. I was shooting something with Tina in the morning, and then I was supposed to be somewhere afterwards, and then some business stuff came up. And I was like, okay, let's see if I can get this done. It's one of those things, when you're on the phone and you're like, okay, I got to talk to somebody in a chat thing. And I got to talk to a consultant about these things and blah, 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 blah. What's happening? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? And to be fair, everybody on the other side of this thing I was dealing with were really great, but it took a little while. So next thing I know, I'm looking like, oh, well, I'm going to be late to the thing I'm supposed to go to and I can't miss it. So I missed it. And I said to Roxy, can you make it a little later? And she said, normally at this time, actually I could, but I wasn't planning on doing anything, but I'm doing something with the Real Rejects today. I wish I would have known. And I said, on me, totally on me. And that's that. So I said to Luke, hey, Luke, I want to make sure, by the way, and look, and I want to see, let's see if he can do, because he's not, let's see. I'm tell him I'm talking about him right now. Because I am going to look at my text because maybe I messed up. I'm going to look. Let's see. Nope. This one's not on me. This one's on Luke today. So I said, can you set up the stream for 3:30 my time? I said, I'm going to do it by myself. Normally, it's usually me. But today, it's on Luke. I'll let him take blame for it in the chat. But he's the best. So, I mean, he just did a new thumbnail within seconds. And because we didn't really even know what we were going to choose for the story today. And then right before I went on the air, I was like, oh, that look at that. Some updates there. It's a big update with James Gunn. So let's just talk about that. So people are going to be joining the stream late, whatever. What would be hilarious, and still at the same time, I'll be okay if it doesn't happen. I told you yesterday, I really would like to see Rocha win one. And I think he's at like 78 or something from yesterday. Chris Carr is coming on tomorrow. She got a good shot to win. She's going to start joining the crew tomorrow, coming on her first show tomorrow. Thursday, I'm pretty sure Mike and Steph are back. And then Friday, the Capes and Cowls crew. But I've gone on my lonesome and won one before. So can we do it again here today? We shall see. But let's talk about the topics first before we talk about any questions. And we have this one, which was the topic at hand. James Gunn talked about Wonder Woman, talked about Batman, talked about Superman 2. See, Luke, I'm shaking my fist at you, Luke. So a lot of people thought this show was starting at 5:30. So they're not coming back until 5:30. Shaking fist at Luke. Gunn on Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman 2. A new Wonder Woman movie is being written right now, according to DC Studios chief James Gunn. Entertainment Weekly has done a major feature piece on James Gunn's Superman movie, and within the article, he confirms the project is happening, and it's separate from the HBO Paradise Island series that he announced a little while ago. Of that series, says it's slow moving, but it's moving. In terms of the overall DCU, Superman, Supergirl are both filmed with the new Batman, Brave and the Bold in development. Also coming from DC Studios, but outside of the DCU, is Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, starring Robert Pattinson. Of that project, Gunn says what Matt's doing is still really important despite all the stories to the contrary. We're supposed to see that script shortly, and I can't wait. As for a follow-up to Superman, he says he's already developing an in some way sequel to the new film, whatever that means, and adds, but it is straight up. Is it a straight up Superman sequel? I would not say necessarily. Chat comes as tickets for the Amazon Prime early screenings for the film have gone online, allowing people to check out the movie early on July 8th. What is that one that everybody talks? It's Kingdom Come, right? I would assume that's what he's working on next with Superman. It's Kingdom Come. I mean, that's where the rumors have been, and I think that makes a lot of sense. As far as Wonder Woman goes, I'm telling you, I think Adria Arjona is going to get it. I think she's going to get the role. I think because of everything that's happening with the buzz with her, and because of the connections with Momoa. And do I think that because she's Momoa's girlfriend, she's going to get the role? Absolutely not. I think that it's good to have friends that can get you meetings and say, hey, listen, you should meet with her, yada yada yada. Or hey, I'd like to meet her. She's great. She's great in Andor, great and other things. Like she's pretty great. And I think that probably escalates the script being written also. I'm telling you, I think she gets locked into this role. That's my guess. But as far as having Wonder Woman as the next one makes sense. You got to focus on those three characters in order to really make this thing survive. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. You got to have those three hit. Boom, boom, boom. Now, as far as Batman Brave and the Bold, I think they made that decision. They're going to go through with that. Do I think Muschietti is going to do it? I really don't. But he might. But I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen. Same goes with whoever gets announced there. Now, the other thing that I will say, and I've been pretty adamant about it, where I do think that it's going to be tough to keep both Batman projects alive. And I think it is Reeves Batman is very contingent on how well Superman does. But I think that if Gunn's kind of doubling down and making it known that whatever those stories are out there, I'm very excited about this movie and I want to see it happen. You start saying like that stuff in the media, then I'm going to start to hold you to your word on that. And everybody else will too. Because it's one thing to say, hey, listen, we'll see. We don't really know right now. There's a lot of things, scheduling and all that other stuff. But as far as I know, there's a script coming. And I'm excited to see it, no matter what everyone says. I can't wait for that project. That to me sounds like a DC studio head that really wants to make that thing happen, regardless of what shows like this and other shows are saying. I still think it's going to be tough. I know that a lot of you disagree with me when it comes to public interest as having two Batman out there, but I do at the same time, it's two films. And especially what point that has never really been made that I think needs to be made more is, let's say whoever the next Batman is, nobody likes, what if everybody likes Pattinson better? And then they're like, we don't care about that Batman. Put Pattinson in there instead. Because you have a comparison project out there now. It's like, yeah, that one's better. Well, put that one in there instead of whoever you cast there. That's terrible. And then they're like, well, him and Corn Sweat, they're not working. Pattinson probably work better. Try Pattinson. Because you know that's going to happen. It's going to be inevitable. So I think that's another problem. But he's also a storyteller, James Gunn. He wants to see good stories being told. So if that happens, listen, I'm not going to complain about that if it happens, by the way. It doesn't mean I don't think it's confusing. I would love to see Brave and the Bold and then the Batman. Not going to confuse me. Not going to confuse you. Going to confuse. I'm going to get a bunch of people from a bunch of questions from people I know. Well, wait a minute. Does that Batman tie into this? What is they have two? Why are there two Batman movies out? What does it work together? Does it not work together? I know I'm going to get those questions. No, actually, no. That one over there doesn't have anything to do with that. If you like the Superman movie, then follow that one because that's probably the one that's going to tie more into it. And if it's as easy as that, and people go, oh, okay, then maybe that's what it is. As far as not having a Superman 2, I think you got to be careful with saying that. Because what if this movie makes $1 billion? Superman, the one that's coming out. And then everybody says, oh, let's do Superman 2. You don't want to run into the same problem you did with Man of Steel, which didn't hit $1 billion. But instead of giving us Superman 2, you jumped right into Batman v Superman. And you didn't give it any time to marinate. Now, are they going to do it's called Kingdom Come, right? Pretty sure that's what it is. I wonder if that's the case. I don't know. But if it seems like they've been rumoring that and wanting to do that for quite a while now. So I wonder if that's going to happen overall. I don't know. World's Finest. Thank you. World's Finest is the name of it. Thank you. So World's Finest is the one I think that they're going to do. What I go, is it Kingdom Come? I thought, but isn't there another one called Kingdom Come? But either way, they're going to do some big event with everybody, and it'll probably be the events that from Superman leading into this. So, yeah. Anyway, for people who thought the show started at 5:30 and you're still here, thank you. For those of you who aren't here, you'll be here on the replay. It's going to be a short show anyway today, letting you know. A lot of great things happening on the channel in general. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I really want to know your thoughts on this. What say you about James Gunn giving these updates about Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, right? When do we see? That's the other thing leading into this Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold is still in development. Wonder Woman, the script is being written. One would assume that if the script is being written for Wonder Woman right now, they're going to cast her before the prequel series happens, and she will appear in that series. I'm telling you, I am not going to be surprised at all, and you shouldn't either, when Adria Arjona is cast in that role. I would go to Vegas odds. Got to put her as the front runner right now. Got to put her as the front runner. I think she is going to be the one. I think a lot of people are going to get excited when they hear that she is a front runner, when they hear she's going to be in it. She's doing a lot of that. That's what they do sometimes. They put the names out there and they leak it. They pretend, oh, I don't know how the names got out there. And they want to see what the audience reactions are of who they're leaning towards. That happens all the time. And I don't give a crap what the hell they say. Oh, I don't know. We don't listen to full of it. And people are going to say, yeah, we absolutely 100% want to see her as Wonder Woman. She's not too short. Get out of here. She's too short. He can be Tom Cruise. They can make him look 8 feet tall. She's too short. Stop that. Stop it. There are other times that Too Short does, not the rapper, but Too Short doesn't work. Like, I don't think Too Short works with Storm. I mean, how tall is Adria Arjona? She's like 5'5", right? Isn't she? Or maybe she's smaller. I don't know. Let's see. Arjona height. 5'7". What are you talking about? Too small. 5'7". What? That's all you want her to be. 5'7" is perfect. Stop that. Yeah. Oh, come on. Cut it out. Stop this. So well, you can come back to me after she gets cast. Yeah, she's 5'7". It's fine. And 5'7" on movie screen looks 6 feet. Anyway. So put your thoughts in there. I gotta know what everybody's thinking about this in general. And then when will we get Batman? When are we going to get World's Finest? If you get the Batman 2, are they going to push World's Finest? Are they going to run them at the same time? It's the conversation we've been having for quite a while. Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Okay. So before we get moving, again, put your comments and your questions in there. I'm going to do like 3 stories today in general, maybe 4. So if you want to stay here today, want to ask questions, great. If not, you guys want to go out and run around outside, throw a beach ball to each other, whatever you want to do. But let me tell you about 2 of our great sponsors with Turtle Beach and Factor. I've been telling you about them all week, and I really hope you've been listening and getting them. Check it out. So it's Turtle Beach time, and I'm excited to talk about them again. Man, that Stealth 700 headset that I got, pooey, the sound. I was playing the Indiana Jones game. The sound is just so, it's like, you guys know how I am with sound and movies in general. Playing this game and hearing every little bit of sound because the headset is just so incredible. It just does, it leaps and bounds better than previous ones that I've used. But you know, it's funny when you're playing the game and you're so just taken in by all the sounds because the headset is so incredible. I was like, oh, wait, I gotta pay attention to what's going on. I'm going to get popped by one of these bad guys. And the other great thing about it's got an 80-hour battery life. I was like, oh, I got to charge this thing. It's like, no, not yet. You got time. I mean, you could. You don't have to. And that's the worst when you're playing a game, you're doing something with the headset, and then just craps out, and you're like, oh, I got to wait forever. It's great. The Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system means you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and the PC with just a click of a button. Gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming, taking calls at the same time. Listen to your favorite songs while gaming, all done with the Stealth 700. And it's not just amazing headsets that Turtle Beach has. They have every gaming accessory that you could ever want, and they're all high quality, and they're prices that don't break the bank. It's most important. From flight and racing simulators to controllers, keyboards, and mice, Turtle Beach is the ultimate gaming cheat code. You got to head to turtlebeach.com. You got to use that code Kristian, 10% off your entire order. That is 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com. Use the promo code Kristian. You're going to purchase it like you did last time. They'll ask you where you heard about them. You got to tell them our show sent you. We did it. Get the ultimate immersed gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. Man, summer is here. I'm excited for it. It is time to relax, get some sun, do all the things that make summer really, really special. And the number one thing that you don't want to be doing all summer is spending hours upon hours cooking. This is what I love about Factor. Factor has chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready. They're just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. So there's 45 weekly menu options. You can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains, your goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. I've told you since I have been going to the gym, since I've been trying to focus on health, Factor has been instrumental in helping me do it. I use it, and you should too. So, if you want to get Factor, and you should get Factor, get started at Factor with factormeals.com/Kristian50off, but use that code Kristian50off to get 50% off, plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Kristian50off at factormeals.com/Kristian50off for 50% off, plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Kristian50off. Thank you to both Factor and Turtle Beach. Again, like I said many times over, you want to help the show, you want to support the show, that's how you do it. Guess what, everybody? You guys are in for a treat. I just got a text from somebody. I'm going to have a very special guest in just a second here. And I think just bringing this special guest on alone could probably get us over to beat Rocha today. But you guys want to guess who the special guest is? I don't think you're going to get it. But let's see. Put in some names and let's see who you think is going to be our special guest. And I'm almost waiting for the next story for the special guest. It is John Cena. No, they guessed it right off the bat. Oh, there you go. He's right here. How you doing? Great. Sam? So I'm so curious to see who you guys think. A lot of names being thrown out there right now. I want to see who's going to get it. Anybody can get it. It'd be so wonderful to see. Man, I'll tell you, I really do, as I mentioned just beforehand, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to, as you're getting older, keep yourself in shape, trying to. I don't say that, oh yeah, I've always felt that way. I didn't. Recently, I mean, I've been making it a priority, and I've been it's helped me. It's helped me. So, okay. I'm wondering if I should start this story. Well, yeah, I can start the story, and maybe when I start the story, maybe the person will come in here. We shall see. But let's start the story, and I'm going to say the Train Your Dragon remake reviews are in, with Disney having well over a decade of live action adaptations of its famed animated features under its belt. It's a trend still going strong, judging by the live action Lilo and Stitch box office numbers. Let's see. I think my special guest just wrote me. Nope, not yet. Not yet. Okay. Now, DreamWorks Animation is trying to cash in on the trend with a live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon opening this Friday. Reviews are now in. And 49 count, the film's up to 84% on Rotten Tomatoes and 61 out of 100 on Metacritic. The softly positive reviews suggest the film's a very loyal adaptation of the original work, and therein lies its problem, which is the same as all the films of this ilk. There's no real reason for it to exist. Here's a sampling of the reviews. It's hard to improve on the first one, though the last act looks positively iconic in this new incarnation, unlocking the expressionistic power of heavy metal tunes and Boris Vallejo paintings. That director can still find excitement and joy in this well-tread story is a testament to both his work and source material. No one needs a live-action remake, but ones this faithful and sweet are not the problem. It's the kind of immersive sensation and giddy wish fulfillment that might just have you forgetting momentarily to breathe, and more importantly, that you're still in a movie theater. It's clearly made with love and care, but shows far too much deference to its. How many more? Anyway, all that's really changed in How to Train Your Dragon is now distinctly less charming and less playful than before, with even its piece de resistance toothless losing some of the cute factor. Okay, I've heard enough. So I say that, and I saw the movie last night, and I did an out of the theater reaction to it, and I don't disagree with a lot of that stuff. I disagree with the notion of, and I know that I'm not in this camp with a lot of people, but I disagree with just proving the point that these things don't need to be remade. It's fun to see these animated things in live action. It's fun to see it. And the one thing I did agree with very much so is that the end of this movie is gorgeous, and it's great to see a lot of the stuff that you had, because we just myself and Tina just rewatched. Well, I just saw it, rewatched it. She just saw it for the first time. The first one, it's the same movie. I mean, you pretty much could almost call this a re-release. It's the same movie. There's two arguments to be made in this. The first one is, oh, I don't want to see it. I saw the first one. I like the first one. That's it. I don't need to see it. I like the first one better. I like their animation. I liked what I saw. I don't need to see the second one, or a remake, or I don't need to see it in live action. Now, the flip side of that is, I love this movie. I want to see what it would look like with a real human being and dragons flying around. And I like the idea that they took the dragons, the animated versions of these dragons, put them in this real world setting. The kid that played from the Black Phone, I thought he was really good again as Hiccup. I thought everybody who's the leads were good. I didn't think that the main crew was the best. The crew of kids, they're fine. They're fine. But I just wanted to see how they were going to translate it. And the music looked good, and they didn't add a lot of things. It was great to see Gerard Butler back, but there wasn't a lot of stuff that added to it. But it was one of those things, though, that I again pushed back very much so when I said that I had never seen Lilo and Stitch, and I went to see the live action. But why would you do that? If you haven't seen the first one, why would you even see it? Why would you see it? Because of a situation like this. I am so curious to see how people who don't know this story and people who aren't familiar with this, and if this is the first time, does the emotion hit differently? Because the emotion didn't hit all the way for me, because I knew the beats. I knew all the beats to the movie. I knew what was going to happen. I knew where it was going. I knew nobody was in peril. I knew that the father and the son were going to, eventually make up and all that. And when you watch it, that's the beauty of the first one. You don't know when you're watching it. And there's the magic and the soul and the essence of it is wonderful. They do a great job because there's all the returning characters. And I don't just mean the actual characters in the movie, but the people around it that will make it. Dean DeBlois returning as director, that they're treating this with love. The other thing that I think it is going to be great for, cover your ears. This is going to be great for kids. This is going to be aimed towards kids. It's a PG movie, and kids are going to make this movie a success. This is going to be aimed towards children, and children are going to love this. Regardless if they've seen it, they're not going to hold you to that same standard. My special guest is getting set up right now. I can see the camera move, or I can see the box that has signed in. I'm very excited for you guys to see. Nobody guessed. Oh, my special guest is getting ready. Can't wait. And what a perfect person to talk about this story with. How to Train Your Dragon. I think my special guest, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one and only, the greatest Schmoedown player of all time. Dangerous Dan MURRELL is here.
Hello.
Look at that. What a gift. What a gift.
A gift. Wow.
How are you?
Flattered. I'm doing well. It's
Good,
it's weird. When I came into the studio, I heard the tail end of what you were saying, and I knew exactly what movie you were talking about.
Right. So you saw it also, and like, so my thoughts. I haven't done my full kind of review on it. I just did an out of theater, but essentially there was no embargo on it, so I gave kind of a longer out of the theater reaction to it last night. And my summary summarized, it was like, look, if you haven't seen this movie, you're going to hit all those emotional beats and you probably feel it for the first time. If you know these emotional beats, it's really just fun to watch it come alive in a live action. But I can also see the argument of like, I didn't feel anything because I knew everything that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's weird. The embargo dropped at 1:00 in the morning, my time.
Yeah,
on Tuesday or Monday, which is weird. Yeah, I came from the. If you see my review, you know they said basically the same thing. I had seen the original one time.
Okay.
When we did the honest trailer for it forever ago, and I remembered some of it, but I didn't remember a lot of it, and I really really liked the movie. I went back after and watched the animated one again, and it is a 1-to-1 pretty much recreation.
Yep.
It's
like a re-release.
It is in a way, but my thing, and I heard a little bit about, like I said, what you were saying before, kids. I think that the screening I saw, it was some critics, and then it was some families that had gotten advance tickets. And from what I could see, the kids in the audience loved it. Loved it. They thought it was fun and exciting. It had that kind of buzz, you get in a theater after, you can tell the audiences enjoyed it. A lot of the comments I got in my review are just anti, and I get it. The idea of bringing back all these older movies and remaking them, etc., what it means for creativity, I get that. But also, having seen most of these live action remakes, I think it's a really good movie. But it's because I don't have the other one memorized beat for beat, and I don't notice all the changes, and I don't see what they didn't do. I just see what they did do.
Yeah, and when I saw it, because we just did a reaction to it that we're going to put on the channel tomorrow, I believe. And I hadn't seen it in quite a bit, but I'm glad that I did, because there's not really a lot that they change at all, to be honest with you. There's really not a lot at all. I mean, they add a couple of scenes or dialogue or other things, and I think they give the Nick Frost character a little bit more to do in this than he does and he's got enough to do in the original, but he's got more to do in this one. But I can hear what you're saying, man, because there were kids in my screening too, and the spectacle of it. And it is one of those things that you could see, especially people in our industry, where it's going to be like, put your feet down and go, they don't need to do stuff like this. And it's like, yeah, but look at the magic in that kid's eyes right now. That kid is seeing what we're not. We're not seeing that, because they don't care about, well, they shouldn't remake things. They just get to see live action dragons flying around with human beings, and it makes it more real to them. So that's why I think it's going to do well. How's this thing tracking, by the way?
I was actually trying to look that up for charts yesterday.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of new tracking. The last one I saw was, they were saying like 65 to 75.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was, I mean, we'll see though. How to Train Your Dragon has always performed worse than I thought it was going to. The animated ones, I always projected them to. I think one of those summer box office competitions, maybe even one of the ones I competed against you in.
Okay.
I projected it was How to Train Your Dragon 2 to be huge, and it did well, and so naturally I did the same thing this year and projected this one to be like the number 2 movie of the summer. But seen a lot of the updated tracking. I'm curious to know how it's going to do as well.
And unlike the Minecraft movie, unlike Lilo and Stitch, it has competition, right? Like those 2 movies I just mentioned. I don't know if Minecraft is still in the theater anymore, but Lilo and Stitch certainly is still in the theater. Elio's coming out right around the corner. So it's got more competition than those other movies had. So you got to have, as you know better than anyone, you got to have a good second week in order to really make it up. Do you think that this movie is going to have legs?
I think it depends on what audience shows up. I think that the family audience, the ones that maybe aren't as connected to the original, are really going to enjoy it, as people enjoyed the first movie. It's, I say these live action things are a no-win scenario, and you brought up Lilo and Stitch. It's very curious to see, same director, writer, directors, both movies.
Oh, really?
Chris Sanders directed Lilo and Stitch. Dean DeBlois
Right.
directed How to Train Your Dragon. They wrote both movies together.
Right.
Lilo and Stitch came out, and the comments and stuff that I saw were like, I can't believe it. They changed so much. It's not even the same movie anymore. And this one comes out, and the comments are, I can't believe it. They didn't even change any, or they changed nothing. It's the same movie. And it's like, this is why it's a no-win scenario with so many of these live-action remakes.
The only way you win is the box office.
Yeah.
That's how you win. You look at, because Lilo and Stitch, they don't care what you think. They're laughing all the way to the bank. The movie's going to make close to $1 billion. You know, and there are those. You're right. There's either that. Because I had not seen Lilo and Stitch the original before I saw this. Then I went and saw it, and they do change some stuff for sure. The ending is fairly different, but there's a lot of stuff that they still take. And I think there's a lot of different ways you could do these and what they've done. You look at like Cinderella, which I still think is one of the best ones.
That's like that and Jungle Book for me.
Yeah,
with Disney are like, that's how to do it.
I agree.
You take the original, you throw in some new stuff, a little bit of flair, keep the spirit. Like those are the gold standard, I think, for how to do these things.
And then you try to go too radical, and you go, you know, whether it's a Snow White or whatever it might be, and it's like you got to stay true to the essence of in order to get people. And this one is more in the vein of like Lion King, where they didn't want to mess anything. They didn't want to. We had a couple of different things in dialogue, but for the most part, it's pretty much just kind of a shot-by-shot remake.
Well, and I mentioned this in my review too. The difference for me between this and Lion King was Lion King, I thought they delivered an inferior version of the shot-for-shot stuff. So like, I just can't wait to be king. And I rewatched it not too long ago. It's such a great song with big, bright, vibrant colors in the cartoon, and in the live action, they're just literally running around a field singing. Right. Be Prepared was such this great Shakespearean thing, and the animated and the live action, it's just kind of Chiwetel Ejiofor doing spoken word poetry. I didn't think it impacted as much, and I think the big difference for me with this one is I think it does. It is shot for shot, but I think the impact is still there.
Well, you know what it is also too, Dan, is that the Lion King is essentially computer animated the whole way through. Yeah, there's no humans in it. Right. Like you can't relate to any human beings in it. And this, it was awesome to see Gerard Butler come back and reprise his role. The kid, what's the kid's name in Black Phone?
Mason Thames.
He was great.
This kid's a great actor.
He's great.
He's great.
And that's got to be Thandie Newton's daughter, right?
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that.
She looks just like her.
I don't know.
It's got to be
question.
Daughter. I feel. And was she in Last of Us? Like
she was. She was in Last of Us. Yes.
Yeah, she's Thandie Newton's daughter. And because I mean, the second she shows up, I'm like, oh, that's Thandie Newton's daughter, without even realizing it because she looks like Thandie Newton. But either way, I think that this is a movie that is going to be do very well. I think that because of, as I've said many times over, if you can hit the formula for kids' movies in the summer, you're going to win, because the families don't have a lot of stuff to see during the year. Yeah,
and you mentioned Elio. I think this is going to be interesting. That's one of my big X factors this summer is how's Elio going to do?
And what do you think? You think it's going to do well?
I think that we're probably more likely to see a run closer to Elemental than a Pixar sequel. I think that it's just harder to sell an original idea. We'll see what the critics think of it. I don't think it's going to go like Strange World, with Disney, where it's just like a total bomb. But I would be more surprised to see it do something like Elemental, which is where, it opens okay and then hangs around for a bit. But who knows? I mean, it's especially family films.
You can't tell.
It's so hard to predict what kids want to see, what families are going to take their kids to see. Yep. And if it's great, and if the buzz is great, then I think that could really help to get people out.
That's the major factor for Elio, because Elio does not have the benefit of having the IP like Lilo and Stitch or How to Train Your Dragon or Minecraft. It doesn't. It's like you said, it's an original movie that it's got it. The buzz has to be through the roof, and everyone's like, you got to see this one. You got to check. This is a sweet movie because it's got an opportunity to do that. And this is what this is what Lilo and Stitch did when it came out. This is what How to Train Your Dragon did when it came out. Nobody knew what the hell it was. It was like, it's a brand new thing. So it's got to be able to win by doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Inside Out, Pixar is able to do that, but that was 10 years ago, and I think Inside Out was easier to sell to kids because you had the more cartoonish
Yeah.
characters, and the concept was very easy. I think that's the biggest thing with Elio is nobody's really quite sure what it's about. It's aliens and the kid, but it's like it's not easy. Like Inside Out is like it's a bunch of emotions in somebody's head, and they're and you see like it's a very easy concept to sell. Elio, I think, is a little bit more difficult to kind of get across what you're doing.
So, do you know when I found out that Elio had anything to do with aliens?
No, when?
About 3 seconds ago.
Really?
I knew nothing about this movie at all.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. I didn't see a trailer. I didn't see nothing. I'm going to see it next week. And this shows is how I respect Pixar, right? Because and because of what you just said, the original idea. I had an opportunity to go see F1 on Monday night, and I chose Elio. People go, "Why would you do that?" Because there's going to be more screenings of F1, and there's not going to be any more of Elio. And I want to see it, and I want to see. I'm hoping it's good. I'm rooting for him, but F1 is like one of my most anticipated of the year. It was not an easy decision.
Yeah, Elio, that's tough for me because I have on the same night right now. I've got a screening 5 hours this way for 28 Years Later. And I've got a screening 5 hours this way for Elio.
God.
And I think I'm going to go with 28 Years Later, but it's not an easy call.
If you're in that scenario, you're making the right decision.
And I can't make embargo for Elio if I go to that one because it's after the embargo drops. So it's like, I think I got to go with 28 Years Later in this one.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I think that the Monday night screening is for F1 is premiere. I don't want to do the premiere. I like going. I'm an old man now, Dan. I like to go. I like to just go sit down. I went to a screening last night for this movie, for How to Train Your Dragon, and it was the AMC right near Penn Station. So you get off, you walk. It's a 4 or 5 minute walk. I went. I watched the movie. I went outside. I shot my out of the theater reaction. I looked and I said, "Uh-oh, my train's coming in 6 minutes. Can I make it?" I walked back to Penn Station. I was on the train. I made it home. I was like, "Oh, that's my favorite theater of all time."
Oh, you would hate what I have to do to go to screenings then.
I wouldn't do it. I would. People do not understand how much Dan Murrell puts into this. Like, I would not do it. But what you do, driving 5-6 hours to get there, another 5 or 6 to get back. God bless you. God bless you.
I mean, I pick and choose. I don't go to everyone.
But you would go to enough, and there's first of all, there's no world I could do that anyway because of my kids. I just wouldn't.
Sure.
I wouldn't be able to do that. But good on you. But anyway, we got a lot of movies still coming out. What's your most anticipated for the rest of the summer? Is it Superman?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, but Fantastic Four is coming up quick though on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm digging it. I'm digging everything I see. I'm digging it more and more. But yeah, Superman is probably still top of the list.
Same. Now again, I always ask you box office numbers. The projection of Superman hitting that 175. You think, is that people being hopeful, no pun intended, or do you think that this is a possibility? 175 to 200, you got a great shot at hitting that $1 billion.
I mean, that would be great. I just think it's way too early to. I've talked about tracking and stuff before. I mean, I get it. It's a nice tool to use, but there's so many X factors. Number one being, is it any good or not? I mean, especially a movie like Superman,
right.
There is a floor, and I think that floor is somewhat determined by reaction or at least buzz, etc. Because people were all high on Flash, and then it just splatted.
Yeah.
I think if it's a great Superman movie, sure. But tracking it's a great discussion point, but there's just too many X factors to really say, oh yeah, no, it's definitely going to do that, or it's not going to do that.
Right. I agree. I think that, I do think there's more hype on this Superman than previous Superman before them. And I do think opening weekend, it'll have the biggest Superman opening. Mm-hmm. But like I just said before, it's all about week 2. And
I mean, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. Mm-hmm. I don't mean to just single out Snyderverse movies, but you can get a good opening week, but the story is told in week 2 and in week 3, and that's what we talk about on charts all the time. It's like, yeah, we'll talk about a movie's opening, but we track the movie through the next few weeks because that's where much of the story is also told.
And you're going to give it some leeway because by week 3, I think it is, that's when Fantastic Four comes out. They've got a short window because, and this is another conversation we've been having on this show that I'm sure you and I are on the same page. We both think Jurassic World will be not great. It's going to be the same monster movie of the week. Mm-hmm. Same thing, genetics in the lab, and there's some big monster that should be in Kong vs. Godzilla. The movie's going to make $1 billion because internationally, people love dinosaurs.
Yeah, but the Chinese market ain't what it used to be, and I've seen some signs that the franchise is fading a little domestically. So I don't have it pinned in for $1 billion like a lot of people do. No, I don't. Okay. I don't. It may well do that, but it's not an automatic for me.
My thought process on it is the fact that that's the type of movie you really internationally you don't care if subtitles are on or if they're not on because you don't care what the people are saying anyway.
Right.
You just want to see.
It might be better if you didn't know what they were saying.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. The monsters are there, and you're like, okay, I don't care what these Americans are saying. I don't give a crap. I just want to watch dinosaurs. There's a dinosaurs. Great. Superman. This looks like it's going to be an emotional story. At least a lot of it is going to be an emotional story. Sure, you're going to have Superman fighting aliens and all that, but it's the core. You got to really lock into it. So. And I don't know if an American superhero, and he is, I don't care what they say about, well, he's not, truth, justice, in the American way. He was built on, he's an American hero. So there's going to be a lot of people. There's a commenter in here, a loyal commenter every day, who said that he was at a screening and he's in Canada. And Superman came on, they said, booing the screen. Because.
Well, that is the concern. Superman is, other than obviously, literally Captain America, mm-hmm. Superman is probably the hero that's most associated with quote unquote the USA. I mean, it's truth, justice in the American way, etc. And just putting politics and the political situation aside, that could hurt its international prospects because it may be a different cultural sell, as in a little less popularity. I think that Superman kind of transcends a lot of that. But that is something to consider, is the idea that Superman is a little more associated with the United States specifically than, even Iron Man. Although Iron Man, I think, is a lot more of a commentary on.
But even Captain America was trying to say, well, it's not just about America. And right. It's which I don't know if that was the best move, but either way, you have this international kind of battle here between Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, Superman. I think internationally, my opinion, I think Jurassic World is going to win internationally. Domestically, I think Superman wins. And if Fantastic Four does not do well, Marvel's in serious trouble
here. Yeah. I mean, because Fantastic Four, it's not just about this movie. Thunderbolts, whatever. They can never do another Thunderbolts movie, and I don't think that their whole mythology is going to collapse. Fantastic Four is being set up as a linchpin and they've already had one of them pulled out with Kang. And then if you have an issue with Fantastic Four now, I mean, this is probably the greatest sort of jeopardy I feel like Marvel's in, true jeopardy in a really long time. I think maybe this has the most to lose since maybe Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Meaning this movie feels like it's a turning point and it's going to decide what direction the MCU is going to go in, moving forward.
You're 100% right. Guardians of the Galaxy was the audience saying, we're in.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys are doing, we're in. Audience is not saying that right now. Audience is saying, I don't know, what do you guys got? I'm barely in. I barely get my feet in at all. What Kevin Feige and the rest of them want to do is they want to get to, well, Spider-Man's pretty much kind of a short thing, but they want to get to those Avengers movies as fast as they can so they can just start the X-Men movie and get rid of all this other stuff.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, we'll see. What do you guys make of all of that? What do you make of the box office potential of all three of these movies? What do you make of the stuff that's coming out now, the summer, just battle that's happening with all these movies? Put your thoughts in there. Let us know. You can let us know in the live stream here. You can let us know on the replay. And you can let us know on the Clips channel. The Clips channel right now are just about 10,000 subscribers. Well, 10.1. So if you guys subscribe over there, you get your clips. You can do that. I got one more story I want to talk about here with Dangerous Dan Murrell, and then we have a couple questions that we can answer, and then we'll call it a short day here today. How about this? Disney is finally taking full ownership of Hulu. Back and forth. You hear the story yet, Dan?
I was reading up on it today. Yeah, I'm doing a little industry catch up here on the channel probably tomorrow. So yeah.
All right. Disney has announced that today it has completed its purchase of Hulu, going to pay NBC Universal an additional $438.7 million for its stake in the streaming service and setting a long-running dispute. Reuters reports that this gives Disney complete ownership of Hulu, clearing the way for a deeper integration of the service within the Disney Plus streaming service and this coming fall's ESPN SVOD offering, according to CEO Bob Iger in a statement. The amount goes on top of the $8.6 billion earlier payment Disney made to buy out Comcast as part of a previous minimum valuation of Hulu, in which Comcast had 33% stake in 2019. The transaction is expected to close by July 24th and follows a contractual appraisal process concluded on Monday, reports investing.com, with Iger saying, "We are pleased that this is finally resolved. We have had a productive partnership with NBC Universal, and we wish them the best of luck. Completing the Hulu acquisition paves the way for a deeper and more seamless integration of Hulu's general entertainment content with Disney Plus and soon with ESPN's direct-to-consumer product, providing an unrivaled value proposition for consumers." Disney generated annual revenue of $94 billion, while Hulu reaches around 53 million subscribers each month. Dan, for people who are like, well, what the hell does this mean for me? Like, if they're like, okay, I have Hulu, and what do I care? What does this mean overall for them?
In the immediate future, not much. I mean, it's not like all of the stuff that's on Hulu currently from other networks and stuff is just going to disappear. But we are in the world of synergy. We're in the world of vertical integration, et cetera. And yeah, I mean, what this is going to do is, Disney has really, they've done well in catching up on the streaming front. This is just going to give them another foot to put forward. But I think that their long-term strategy is something that I'm curious to see. It is an interesting evolution for Hulu, which started out as this sort of paradise cooperative venture between all of the different companies, and now here we are. They're just owned by one of them again. So I think that it's sort of the end of an era when we talk about streaming and when we talk about the modern landscape. But I think in the short term, it's just going to be a blurring of the line, really, between that and Disney Plus.
I think you're right, and I think that it's almost like it just turns them into more of a Netflix, right? To where they're almost like renting things out, and like you said, you're not going to. Because my initial question was, does that just mean like all the stuff that's already on there is going to go away? It's like, no, not necessarily. You're going to license stuff the way that's what a lot of these things should be doing anyway. That's how you like Netflix licensed stuff.
That's how Netflix worked.
Yeah,
that's why it worked so well,
yep.
And everybody got so angry about it that they stopped doing it and said, "We're not going to license it to you. We're going to start our own." And here we are, 7, 8, 10 years later, and everybody realizes that the way that Netflix was doing it and working is, by the way, the best way to do it.
You have to do it that way, because it's like if you can license stuff, and there are certain, and it doesn't mean you can't put stuff on your platform also. But what it means is that, look, maybe people, if you're Paramount Plus, not everybody wants you. Everybody wants you. So you got to rent out some of your movies, rent out some of your things, rent out some of your shows. And I like what Amazon does too. You can get, like, for example, I've got the Peacock service that's like with the commercials, right? So I was watching the John Wick movies, and I'm like, well, I don't want to watch. It's going to add another half an hour while I'm watching this right now, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get it on Amazon for $3, and I rented it for Amazon for $3 to watch it. And it was like, now, is that a little bit of a waste of money? I don't know, maybe, but either way, I knew it was available there.
Yeah, and I mean, they all have deals. Max has a deal with Netflix now. If you look, you'll notice that there will be movies that come out for a certain amount of time of exclusivity on Max, and then they'll show up on Netflix. I think Aquaman just hit it, and Beetlejuice, I think, may have just hit. I think NBC Universal has a deal with Amazon where it'll come out. It'll be exclusive on Peacock for a while, and then it'll go to Amazon Prime Video. Sony has a first look deal with Netflix, so all of Sony's movies go right to Netflix first run streaming. That's really Disney, I think, is the only company right now that doesn't have a second run deal where it just goes and lives on Disney Plus, because they're Disney and they can afford for that to happen. And then Apple is floating in the middle of space, as Apple has always done.
Right.
So yeah, this idea of
because Apple could buy everybody else if they wanted to.
They could, yeah. Apple knows that, you know, I don't subscribe to the idea that they don't care that certain projects lose money, but at the same time, they are in a better financial position than any of the other companies.
The other companies seem to be like, it's like, what do we got going on now? And Apple's like, oh yeah, we got that thing that we do too.
Yeah.
And it's like, we make money on it? No, we lost money. And they're like, well, that's not good. Let's make some money on it. And what about that thing? Well, that's doing okay. Great. George Clooney wants to be in a movie. How much does he want? 20 million. All right. We just sold a whole bunch of stuff technology wise. It's going to, for the next 20 years, that's going to be able to, we can make whatever we want. It's a hobby. It's a side hobby for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that they don't care. It just doesn't matter as much to Apple.
All right, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Hulu, does it matter that Disney finally owns it? Did you not care in the first place? Or do you think it's going to affect you down the line? And do you think that this is the way that most streaming companies should go? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Dan, we're gonna get to some questions.
Sure.
And before we do that, I wanted to ask you, because I'm sure you talked about it, but I didn't get a chance to hear your opinion on it. What are your thoughts on who will succeed Kathleen Kennedy when the time comes? You know, the reports are Carrie Beck and Dave Filoni. I don't know if you know my. I don't know if you know my.
With an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, this is my own question. This isn't even from the fans. But I'll give you. I don't, not to set you up, so I'll give you my thoughts. I think it's a bad choice. I don't think either one of them has enough experience to do this, and I think that the Filoni verse it's Filoni Star Wars, not Star Wars in general, but the audience is sick to death of me is saying it. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the same feeling about Dave Filoni as somebody who started watching Ahsoka and then stopped watching because I realized that I had not watched all of the animated shows and didn't have all of the background to really fully appreciate this show. And that sort of has been, to me, what seems like Dave Filoni's projects in live action have been, which was, we're going to world build within this world that I built, you know, as part of the animated universe. And that certainly excites fans of those shows, but it does tend to be a bit exclusionary for people that maybe aren't as knowledgeable or haven't watched all of that stuff. And I really think that it would be strange to install Filoni before we see Mandalorian and Grogu and how that does, and if that's going to be a viable path forward for the movies. Because if it's not, then you have somebody now in charge who is already readjusting away from the direction that I think they already know. I guess to me, it's really a decision about what Disney wants the future of Star Wars to be. If they want the future to be, hey, we're going to super serve existing fans and really go, you know, down deep into this existing lore and mythology, then Filoni would be a good choice. But I think that if they're looking to expand their world and make more stuff like Andor, which is maybe reaching a bit of a different audience, a smaller audience, but a different audience than your typical Star Wars project, then I think it might be best to look elsewhere. And I'm not one of those people that says it should be Favreau either. I really think that you have to take some outside pitches and see what other people have to say about the future of it. I don't think it would be in their best interest to just hand the keys to Filoni without exploring other options.
The reason the biggest thing for me is that you're a Knowles guy. So if Knowles had a head coach that was not working, whole staff not working, but learned under that coach and everything about what that coach taught them, the coach leaves and they bring those coaches in with the same game plans, nothing changes.
Yeah.
You need Carrie Beck taught from Kathleen Kennedy. Filoni worked with Kathleen Kennedy. Change the regime.
Yeah.
Change the regime and I agree with you 100%. Take new pitches, find some new people that are passionate about this. Find your gun and your saffron. Those two, that's not your gun and your saffron.
Yeah. I mean, Gilroy wasn't a Star Wars guy, and he brought in some great ideas. So
sure did. Yeah. Sure did. Okay. First question here. And we've got about 14 so far. Go Pal. Apparently I'm super early. So here's some support since I can't make it at that time. Well, you might actually be here on time because originally we messed up what time we said we were going to go live. Go Pal. I finished the studio season 1 last night. I'm glad I happened to stop Sunday after the Globes episode. I didn't know 9 and 10 were a 2-parter. Great show. Did you watch that show?
I'm up through 7. I got to finish the season.
You got to finish the season. The last episode is the best. It is the best.
The last one I saw was the Kool-Aid movie one, where they were trying to cast the movie and having to go back and change the cast. And I thought that was great.
You're going to love. Did you see the Golden Globes episode?
No, I think that's the last one, or close to the next to last one.
Oh, okay. No, that one is the Golden Globes is like, but not the penultimate. I think it
might be the one after the one I've seen. Then
maybe so.
Yeah,
maybe so. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, all right, Go Pal again. I thought it was my terrible eyesight that I read 5:30 when it was really 3:30. No. Luke has taken full blame for it. And like I said, Luke does everything right every day on the channel, but today he did something wrong and we're giving him crap for it because that's the kind of person
I can relate.
Yeah. No, Luke's the best. Luke does everything for the damn channel, but today he misread it and he put, whatever happens.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. Happens to the best of us. What do you think about, I mentioned this before, Dan, before he came on, James Gunn addressed about that they're working on a Wonder Woman script now. I think Adria Arjona, speaking of Andor, I think she's going to be cast as Wonder Woman.
I could see that casting. Yeah. I could
Especially
definitely see that casting.
With the Momoa connection, I just think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Next one here. And so again, short day today, but that's all right. Go Pal. Again, Go Pal is doing the whole thing. I love for Adria Arjona for Wonder Woman, or Asia Gonzalez. Isn't she in the DCU already? Maybe not.
Man. There's so many people. There's so many new ones to keep track of. New casts and stuff. I don't know. She might be. It sounds like she might be.
Let me see.
I could be wrong.
I'm gonna say she's been a popular fan choice for the role of Wonder Woman. She has not been cast in anything.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so maybe one of those two. I like her too. So I again wouldn't be bummed. Finally saw Blink twice, and I was surprised Adria has a big role. She wasn't in any of the press I saw. What's Blink twice?
Blink Twice was the kind of murder mystery movie with Channing Tatum and
right, and
it kind of came and went, but I've actually heard good things about it.
Did Zoe Kravitz direct that one?
Zoe Kravitz, yeah.
Right. Okay. I should check that out. I didn't see that one. Joe Hendo TV. I got my tickets for Superman on July 8th. That's fun.
Yeah, I forgot about that Amazon thing today. I got to see if there's any left.
I want to see. I definitely want to see that one with a big crowd, and I also want to see the Naked Gun with a big crowd.
Oh yes,
I can't wait. I haven't seen it. What's the last comedy that you went to in the movies?
The last comedy?
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't count.
Let's see. I went and saw Y2K at the end of last year.
Was it a packed theater?
No, it's rare to have packed theater. Friendship, I think, was the last comedy I went to see in theater.
Oh, that was with Paul Rudd one, right?
Yeah. There was like 10 people in the theater, and me and the person one row ahead of me were the only people laughing.
Right, but gone are the days of like going to see like The Hangover in front, like where it just a completely packed theater, everybody losing their minds like you're in a comedy club. It doesn't happen anymore. I feel like this is the first movie to get excited for something like that in a long time. Am I wrong?
I mean, pure comedy you don't see very much anymore because they used to make their bread and butter was the DVD sales and rentals, and it's just not the same market anymore.
Good call. Go Pal. I'm excited about the Carrie series. None of the adaptations I've seen, 76, 02, 13, really capture the book or the rampage through town after prom. Katie Sackhoff was just cast in that series as well.
Really?
Yeah. She's got cast. Roxy sent me the.
It's a series and not a movie adaptation.
I think it's a series.
Okay, I mean, if you're gonna do it, that's the way to go because we can't do another Carrie movie. You
can't do another movie. Well, I think and that's the thing. Like, look at what Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, all these the big books. You have the streaming capabilities now. If you can do it, stretch it out.
Yeah,
like don't cut
if the storytelling warrants it. Yes.
Right? Yeah, like you don't like understood in Harry Potter when the movies came out. You can't put everything in a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. You can't do it. It'd be a 5-hour movie. But
although I think it would be hilarious if they still didn't put the Society to Protect Elvish Warfare or SPEW in the in the show, because that was such a, I think
Was
it's
that a big
Goblet of
cut for it?
Fire.
Oh,
I think it's Goblet of Fire. There's like a thing where Hermione starts this society to protect elves,
yeah.
Elvish welfare, and they cut it from the movies, and there was like I can't believe you cut spew out of the movie. It'd be hilarious if they just out of spite cut it out of the show as well.
I hope that people have eaten their words on, because everyone gave the poor little girl that was cast in that role. There's like a backlash because they didn't know if she was 100% white or everything too, whatever it was. Did you see her audition?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude.
Was it good?
The second she starts talking, you're like, that's Hermione. The second she starts talking, she was great. She was great. Go, pal. I was a minute into Charts with Dan when I saw this live and switched over. I'm sorry, Dan.
Oh man, jeez, my own worst enemy.
I watch every week. I'll be going back after dinner. There you go. Anyway, he's going back. He's going back. Buster Barnes. Imagine in 2028 we get kind of Superman sequel, Brave and the Bold, and a Wonder Woman movie. Year of the Trinity. DC will be cooking, assuming Superman is good. They could be in the Marvel spot if they get themselves lucky.
Yeah, if it hits
right
consistently instead of kind of sporadically, sure. Yeah, why not?
Mark Long, love the streams and have a great day. You too, Mark Long.
That's a nice comment.
That was very nice. There's some nice people in here today. There's nice people in here every day. So this is the Lil Yankee. Nice. Dan's weekend box office review is the first YouTube video that I see on Tuesdays. Appreciate your hard work. You too, Kristian. Thank you, Lil Yankee.
Thank you very much.
Very nice. I'll tell you, dude, we're doing a full-on, my friend Sam, who I've known since the first grade. She had never seen any MCU movies. So we did a whole thing, like reactions to all the movies, like all the way through. We are now we just wrapped Ms. Marvel.
Okay.
And we're now, I don't tell her what we're watching until she sees it pop up on the screen. Thor: Love and Thunder is coming. I'm ready to put my head in the table.
Oh boy,
it's bad. It's bad. Yeah. And then I'm gonna put myself through She-Hulk too. I don't know why I'm doing that either.
Yeah, I think Love and Thunder might be the one that I soured the most on, and I didn't love it when it came out. But rewatching it, I think it might be the one that I soured the most on from when I first saw it.
Yep. Chris J. Herman, I'm really looking forward to James Gunn Superman. I want a theatrical Superman who is kind and not a sociopath mope like in the Snyderverse. I liked Man of Steel. I don't know did you like Man of Steel?
No? I liked parts of Man of Steel. I never really thought he was a sociopath in the Snyderverse. I think he was a little too down.
Yeah.
But I thought the Cavill actually was a really good Superman, and they got him kind of to where you would expect him, and then ended the Snyderverse. So
right
there you go.
I really liked Cavill a lot as Superman, and I like that movie. That one we're going to do a rewatch of too, and I'm excited to watch it again. Jay Anderson, I don't know what it is, but I can't seem to get excited for Superman. It looks goofy to me. I'm happy for others' excitement though. I love comments like that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, yes, I'm happy. That's why I'm happy when someone says like, "Oh, I can't believe you hated that movie. I thought it was great." I'm happy you liked it. Genuinely, I'm happy you liked it. Yeah. Superman has always been a little goofy. I mean, it definitely looks like James Gunn is kind of leaning harder into the sort of Mr. Mixaplex side of Superman. But I'm willing to give it a go.
I'm excited for it. I am Jack 12. You mentioned your hype for the F1 movie. How about a Days of Thunder 2, where an older Cole Trickle finally takes on his dream of the Indy 500? Thoughts? Wasn't there a rumor that they were working on one?
I mean, it sounds like now Tom Cruise is working on a sequel to every movie he's ever made.
Right. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. Well, the box office returns for Mission Impossible would be one reason why, but
but that's budget. You got
don't make it for 600 or 400, 500 $million. Yeah, make it for 200.
Right. Yeah, you got to bring the budget down. Both those movies together is almost like $1 billion. Both those movies.
Yeah.
Part 1 and 2.
The budget, and I get it, and people take me to task. I understand that some of that's COVID and some of that is the strikes and delays, but it's not what $800 million worth of COVID and strike delay money. There was also, those movies were way too long. You could have cut a lot down.
100%.
They didn't want to do it because they had this kind of improvisational way of making it, and that didn't work out.
I'm with you. Julius Wyatt, Dan, as a box office guy, which run was more impressive? Puss in Boots: Last Wish or Greatest Showman? And this is not a Jay hater, but glad Gunther is champion. I'll let Dan answer the first part. I'll answer the second part.
I think they're both. I think they're both impressive. I would go with The Greatest Showman because one, it was in a pre-COVID box office era when things were a little less staggered. I mean, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish had a fantastic run, but I also think with Greatest Showman, the thing that was impressive was that it defied the critics, whereas Puss in Boots: The Last Wish didn't really. Greatest Showman did. And so I think to me that was even more just like the critics didn't really like it. That doesn't matter. It's musical. That doesn't matter. It's the holidays. They both came out at the holidays. That doesn't matter. So for me, I'd say Greatest Showman, but it's close because Last Wish, that was a fun run to watch.
That was a fun one. And not a Jay hitter. Glad Gunther's chance. Look, like I said, I understand why Jey Uso is getting the opportunities he is. And I was in the crowd at Madison Square Garden when he came out, and it is a major thing when he comes out of the place. It gets the place pumping, his merchandise is selling. I just don't think he's a main event guy. And clearly the WWE is starting to shift a little bit more because they want Gunther to have the title, because eventually Gunther should be at that level of going up against the CM Punks and other people too. So we'll see. Right, Dan?
Yeah.
Go, Val. I thought Disney already owned Hulu after Fox did. Well, they owned a majority of it.
So yeah, it was like a third. So when Disney bought Fox, they got Fox's share, and so this was buying out NBC Universal's final share, so that they would own it outright.
Right. Mike Joyce. Hey Dan, any thoughts on AI? It's getting scary realistic.
It is. My thoughts on AI are various depending on the application that you're talking about. It does scare me how realistic the video and stuff is getting. Just not even it's scary from a movie standpoint, but it's just scary from a real life standpoint.
Right.
What I've said, and people disagree with me, and that's fine. I think that AI can be used as a tool to assist in filmmaking. But the negative applications of it are far scarier than I think the positive applications of it. So it's the regulation on it has got to be rigid, and I don't know how you're going to do that.
I agree with all of that. Carlton Rudder, London Calling, cannot pass up saying hi to the amazing Dan Murrell. I followed you, sir, for years. The eternal level-headed voice of reason.
Thank you, Carlton, or Carleton, either way.
Carlton. Yeah, man. It was it's true. Like, Dan was always a very calming force in the Schmodown too. Even when he was competing at a high level, most people were losing their minds. Only one time did Dan and I.
I was about to say, you see, when you say that, I just think about that one time I got up in your face.
Only once,
but that was just one time.
That was only once.
It was a bad. It was a bad day for me.
But it was a great. But as fast as that started, it was over.
That's true.
Yeah. It was over. But and I understood it. I understood it. I said to you, I remember exactly where we were standing outside of the old Collider offices, and I was just like, Dan, listen to me for a second. And you're like, all right. That was great. Bobby Jackson, how come people don't really complain when a comic gets adapted to animation or live action, but when an animated movie gets adapted to live action, it's sentimental hearsay? It's a good question.
I think it's because it's a complete medium shift with a comic. So you're literally giving movement and voice and stuff to something that wasn't that before. But to be honest, there are people that still get upset when certain comics are adapted or when somebody brings it up. So, but yeah, I think it's just because it's a completely different medium instead of, animation, live action are different medium, but they're still inside the movie space.
Well, it's also because I think, I agree. It's a bigger audience, right? That has seen those things too.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Hendo TV. Superman and Man of Steel had subtle moments of hope and optimism, but he's not going to ignore every problem he's facing. Is that?
It's been 12 years, man.
I know.
Between that and Last Jedi, I'm like, I will concede any argument you have about Man of Steel or Last Jedi. I get it. I get
you fought. You were in those wars.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Joey Pedros. Anyone see the Eddington trailer? It was wild. No, which one was that?
I did. That's the new Ari Aster movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal's the mayor. Joaquin Phoenix is the sheriff. It's set during COVID. It looks. I'm interested to see what's going on with it.
Who's directing it?
Ari Aster.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Corn Emperor. Dan motherfucking Merle. Where's Rocha? Goats. Rocha was on yesterday. And Rocha stands right now with 78 questions as the lead right now. Ooh. Tim R. How to watch F1 for the first time? IMAX or 4DX? That's a great question. Normally I always say IMAX. But for the sound and everything else too, I'd say 4DX for this one.
I've never actually seen a movie in 4DX.
I saw Wicked in 4DX, and it was phenomenal.
Interesting.
It was phenomenal. Not on purpose. I didn't choose it. It was just what was offered. I had missed all of the screenings, Dan, for the press screenings for Wicked, and I got invited to an influencer screening. I wanted to stick my head in a popcorn bucket and leave it there. But the movie I enjoyed, and the 4DX made it worthwhile. So, Jay Anderson, I think I'm just tired of superhero movies. I find myself getting more excited about movies like Sinners, F1, Top Gun, Maverick. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe you're getting old because I feel the same way.
Or maybe they've made them for the last 15 plus years, and it's just they get a little formulaic, and people aren't pushing the boundaries as much as they should be anymore with them.
Also true. Alan Smithy. Hey, Dan, how excited are you for Spielberg's upcoming David Koepp scripted Alien movie? Got any info on plot details? Do you believe the aliens are coming in 2027? Also, hi, Kristian. I have plot info. Do you know anything?
I knew that Spielberg was making a new movie, and David Koepp, I think, was attached to write it. That's about it.
There's 3 disclosure movies coming out now, not including the documentary. There's 3. There's the one that Spielberg is doing, mentioned here by Alan. There is the Kaczynski one. Is it Kaczynski? Who's doing the one with David Grush for Paramount, and then there's the new one that they're doing with Trevorrow about and Ryan Reynolds producing about Bob Lazar and the first and George Knapp, the reporter who was like seen as like the godfather of UFO reporting. So there's a lot of people catching on, Dan.
Yeah. Plus, they made that disclosure movie back in the 90s with Michael Douglas
and Demi Moore.
Yeah. Different subject matter.
Totally different. Moises Gutierrez. Hey guys, International the movies are voiceover on local. Hi guys. International the movies are voiceover on local language. For example, in Mexico, the majority of the people prefer to see the movies in Spanish. Right. But what I mean by that, though, when they're watching the movies, it still doesn't have like that. When I was watching Squid Game, I never watched it with English dub over. Never.
Right.
I don't feel like you get the same emotional attachment that you do. I'd rather watch it in subtitles.
There's less to get lost in translation internationally when you go through the redubbing process, etc.
It's not the same performance.
Yeah.
It's not the same performance. It's a different. It's like Hercules Goes Bananas with Arnold Schwarzenegger when they're.
Yeah, I can't do it with the overdubs.
I can't do it. Jay Anderson. Also, hey Dan, I used to love watching you on Movie Fights. Your love for film and cinema is contagious. All the best, man.
Thank you, Jay. I used to love being on Movie Fights.
They did it, didn't they? They did another one recently, didn't they?
Did they?
I thought so. I thought they did. I thought they did.
They do them from time to time.
I
have major FOMO every time I see them.
Hasbro 24. Who would Dan like to see cast as the new Black Panther? Ryan Gosling or Paul Giamatti? Also, this one counts for Rocha. No, it doesn't. Well, it's because you know that Paul Giamatti was cast in Batman, right?
No.
Motherfucking Batman.
Impression.
There you go. So
that both of those casting choices are deeply inappropriate.
Yeah.
But
you hear that? You heard that story about the Marvel comic book, right?
No, okay. I'm out here in Arkansas, man. I'm kind of in my own little Dan hole over here, so not everything makes it through the filter.
So basically, Marvel did this run where T'Challa had a kid, and he's half white, and so the new Black Panther in this version of the Marvel comics is white, and obviously it's causing the kind of conversation you think that it would. And then people are like, "Well, they're going to do that in the movies?" Like, there's no world they're going to do that in the movies.
No, I can't imagine that they would do that. I mean. Again, comics are comics and movies are movies.
Yeah. Bobby Jackson, I don't want to be greedy, but since we got a special treat with Dan today, can we get Roxy with Chris tomorrow? I don't know if Roxy's available, but I can certainly ask. Jay Anderson, Kristian, did you see the theory that the pyramids were possibly used to travel to different dimensions? I've heard lots of theories on the pyramids and what those could be and the language behind them and the new things that they found on the way that these things were built. There's so much more than what our little eyes think that we know. Motorola, don't waste your voice and send me the freaking class clown. Use your voice and send me competition. What I've been screaming for months about this truth movement. Cena, more articulate with it. You know, I have to watch that. It's wrestling stuff, Dan. I have to go back and watch last night's because I know a lot went down. I saw the Jey Uso and Gunther match, but I haven't seen anything else to it. I didn't have time. I was in the city until whatever time. But Joey, I'm going to take a look and see. Derek Johnson throwing his support here, getting Dan to 38. That's far, pretty good. Gopal, do you know anything about the Julian Moore Sydney Sweeney movie? I didn't hear one word about it until the movie and still seeing pictures for the premiere.
Yeah, it's a movie called Echo Valley. It's an Apple TV Plus movie, which is probably why you didn't hear anything about it. And I've heard the performances are very good, but I haven't heard much more about the movie itself. It's on Apple TV Plus this Friday.
Is it really? Okay, yeah. It's good to know. Ringside Logic, Dan, I've been a big fan of your work for years. Kristian, Archer's release and return, a work or a shoot? Definitely, it is a shoot, and there's no world that they planned that, and Archer's kid said as much. Derek Johnson, support. Thank you, Derek. Clay Titus, Thor: Love and Thunder is based off of the Jason Aaron run of Thor, and it is not comedic at all, and probably the best, which makes it all more disappointing. I stopped watching Marvel movies after that. I went to that premiere, Dan, like for that movie, and I remember walking out going, what the hell did I just watch? And everybody out there, what are you talking about? It was a really good movie. It was really, really fun. And I'm like, you have been overtaken by the lure of the premiere.
That's why I I've said this, maybe I was never really on the premiere list anyway.
Yeah.
Also why I never really wanted to, unless it was for an experience. I went to a couple premieres just as an experience, but as a critic, I never wanted to go to premieres anyway, because it's not the same atmosphere. The audience, it's a different vibe. It's a different feel. It's not the best place to see a movie and walk out objectively, because that audience is so hyped up and invested and psyched. And of course it's going to be great because you're at the premiere. It's the cast and the crew and everyone involved who's going to be financially ruined or fired if that movie doesn't do well. Of course it's going to play great.
That's right. And it's like I always say, it's like going to a comedy club. If you go to a comedy club and you see someone who's brought 100 people to go see them, and you go, wow, that person was great. And then you see them the following week and there's nobody there. But it's a crowd. And they're like, why isn't he as funny as he was?
Premieres are bringer shows, and I won't hear anything different.
That's totally. Carlton Rudder, while Dan is here, thoughts on winner for July? Is it going to be Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World? Best opening weekend and overall winner. Great conversation.
Wow. Opening weekend, I'm going to go with Superman.
Okay.
Just to shake things up and interesting, I won't say Superman for overall winner. I'll say Fantastic Four.
For overall winner.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm down a little bit on Jurassic World domestically. I could be wrong. But I just feel like Dominion had all of the old cast returning and everything else, and it still did a little bit less than Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, I'm not saying it's going to flop or anything, but I just feel like it may not be as high as a lot of people think that it will.
Still made $1 billion. Still made $1 billion, that movie. And that movie was dog shit.
Did it? Did it just get over $1 billion?
It made $1 billion. Okay. All three Jurassic Worlds made $1 billion, and none of them. Well, the first one I liked. You didn't like the first one, but the first one I liked. Second one and third one stink. All right, 2 left. Julius Wyatt, Dan, when is your next live stream?
Good question. I announced a while ago that I was going to start a weekly live stream. My has been that I've been on the road nearly every week since I said that. I was in New York. I've gone to screenings, I think, just about every week. I'm going to be on the road next week. My aim is to get the first one launched, and I'm also doing some planning with launching a show. So my aim is by the end of the month to start the regular live stream, but it's tough because I keep getting my schedule disrupted.
Last one for now. J Mobile had to give support to Dan and Kristian. Well, thank you, J Mobile.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Oops, so someone didn't like the Fantastic Forecast. Dan, I want to thank you for coming out here and being on. Well, to do that. Motorola went to St. Louis this past week for a game and the zoo. Charlie said bye to every single person on the way out. Luke's new best friend, Mookie Betts' kiddo. Boy, that's awesome. How old is Charlie now? Joey. I remember bringing him to the Schmodown. It's crazy. It goes like that. Really does. You know what I'm noticing, Dan, is more people. I keep getting. I'll notice on my phone that some more people are finding the Schmodown now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I get more comments on it than I have been recently. I just wonder if one day the algorithm is going to go, "Hey, watch this show," and we're all going to be like, "What the hell? What's happening?"
We're all going to be so young. It's going to be like 2047. Right. We're like, that was 20 years ago.
Dude, I posted a picture on my Instagram that just popped up in my memory. It was me, Makuga, and Brett, and it was only like 10 years ago, but I look like I'm like 15 years old. Monica, my 2 favorite movie channels to watch. Thank you, Monica. Seeing the Phoenician Scheme today. What was your favorite Wes Anderson film? Wes Anderson film. My favorite is the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah, it's my favorite too.
Royal Tenenbaums. Did you see the Phoenician Scheme?
I did see it.
Do you like it?
It's very Wes Anderson. Okay. I feel like he's sort of fallen into some rhythms, some of which I enjoy, and some of which I'm getting a little tired of.
Well, there you go, guys. We did it. Again, thank you to Dan Murrell. Dan, tell them what's going on the channel. Where should they find you? All that stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on my channel, Dan Murrell Movies on YouTube. Charts with Dan came out today. Review for How to Train Your Dragon came out in the wee hours of the morning yesterday. And then for tomorrow, I'm working on a video about the whole Warner Brothers Discovery situation and Zaslav and this whole thing of spinning the studio off and kind of trying to do a deep dive into what that means and who's going where and all that. So look forward to that. It's a as Roth Cornett used to call it, it's a broccoli episode. But I try to make it at least entertaining.
Please do. The guy's got some of the best thoughts in the business, and his channel's amazing. Please go and check Dan out. Thank you guys for being here. Again, thank you for checking me out on this late show today. We'll be back on time tomorrow. Chris Carr makes her much welcome debut as a full-on Wednesday cast member tomorrow. So come join us for that. Thanks again. We really appreciate you. Make sure you check out both Factor and Turtle Beach, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye.